Aloha, this is Sean with homesteadinhawaii.com. I've been hearing this question being asked a lot, like, how much money do I need to save to start my off-grid dream? A lot of people believe that you need to save all of the money that you're ever going to need in order to begin. But if you do that, you're going to be waiting forever to actually start living your life. So there's a few things that we can do to get off-grid relatively soon, and it doesn't take saving for retirement to do it. So first off, it starts with a simple plan. You want to create a budget for yourself right now where you're at. You could be living in the city, have a normal 9-to-5 job. Start creating a budget. That will help you figure out how much you're bringing in and how much you're spending and where you can cut your expenses. When I did this, I was in my early 20s. I had car payments, I was paying rent, living in California. Cost of living was not as high as it is now, but I was having a lot of my money going out every month. I was young, I was making a lot of money, and I was like, hey man, like, what do I do with all this money? Let's buy a car. Well, that was one of the dumbest mistakes I've ever made. And since then, I got rid of that car. I bought an economical vehicle that is reliable, and I was able to pay in cash. I cut out more expenses. I stopped buying flashy things to keep up with my friends. I started buying my clothes secondhand and wearing them till they ran out. I really started to control my budget. And as soon as I did that, I began to find money that didn't exist before. And I was quickly able to save up a couple $1,000s, which led me to believe I was ready to start my homestead dream. I had $12,000 in the bank, and I was sick and tired of living in Los Angeles. Granted, I had a pretty sweet job. I was working as a valet. I made pretty good tips, and that allowed me to put my money away quicker, and it helped being young without a family. But I know to this day that it can be done with a family because I have done it twice. Once when I was single and once when I had a young family. So it all starts with creating that budget. Next thing you want to do is not quit your day job, okay? You may be ready to move off grid, but if there's a chance that you can find a property that is close to town where you can still commute, or you can find another job similar to the one that you already have, that way you can keep bringing the money in without having to save it all ahead of time. So when I got started, I used that initial $12,000 and I bought a couple lots here on the Big Island of Hawaii in the Puna district for about $3,000 for a quarter acre. Then took that money and was able to funnel it over where I was living at the time. I was living in a van. I built a shed in which I started to make surfboards and earn some money that way. Most of what I made to build was what I was earning day to day. So while keeping my job, which at the time was making surfboards, I did that in California. I transitioned out of valet to making surfboards before I left, and I continued it when I got here. I was able to keep selling boards, keep making a little bit of an income, and slowly build my homestead. I moved out of my van after a couple months into a shell of a house that I built, 14 by 20 foot house. And during that time, I learned new skills. So I took the day job, allowed it to continue to bring income for me, but at the same time, I began to learn new skills that would be helpful on the homestead. So building, plumbing, electrical, all those things were things I learned while building my first house. Now it's off-grid, it's not permitted. I got to do all of that myself. It's very important right now where you're at to work on gaining new skills that will be beneficial to going off-grid. These skills are transferable. They can turn into jobs down the line. What I ended up doing, I transitioned out of making surfboards because there's a little bit of a downturn. But out here in Hawaii, everyone needs their landscape taken care of. So I had myself a weed whacker and a mower, and I started picking up landscape clients, and I still have a couple to this day, which I really enjoy doing landscaping. So while you're still at your current job, learning new skills, creating a budget, Hopefully by now you're learning how to simplify your life. Instead of going out to eat every night, you're learning to cook. You can start growing food on your balcony if you live in an apartment. You can do things that are free, like go to the beach or go for a hike instead of going out to spend money at the movies or going to Disneyland or whatever you have near you that costs an arm and a leg. Choose to find ways to simplify your life, and you will not have to make as much money as you currently need to make. Now, in my life, we bring in about $20,000 a year, and we have enough money to save a quarter of it and go on 2-month vacations every summer. My wife is a teacher's aide at school. She chose not to become a teacher because she didn't want the extra work. She just wanted to help out the kids and have nothing to worry about when she got home, so she could be home with our kids. She has her vacations free, her summers free, and that income allows all of us to be able to enjoy our life. We travel, we go out to eat sometimes, but mostly we cook from home. We have a great life. I can't complain. When you plan on going off grid onto your new homestead, where's it going to be? Is it going to be in San Francisco or New York City, Los Angeles, California, for instance, the whole of California? Or is there a place that could be cheaper for you to have your offstead dream? My family and I, we chose to move to Hawaii. The Big Island in the Puna district is relatively inexpensive compared to most places around the country. Like I said, I got my lots for $3,000 each, but I know that even now, today, people are finding $6,000 lots here on Hawaii. And across the rest of the country, there's still very cheap land close to decent sized towns. So something to really think about is downsizing the expense of your life by finding land that is more affordable. Okay, so buying land that is more affordable, you will be able to pay for that land in cash. Most people say that real estate is an investment. Well, it's not an investment if you're paying that mortgage every month. It's an investment if you have a renter and someone else is paying that for you. When you're paying a mortgage, you have a debt, plain and simple. I have zero mortgage, and that is what allows us to enjoy our life without making so much money. We go on vacation, we're not paying rent, we're not paying mortgage. We have zero bills when we're gone. All that money that we bring every month while we're away, because my wife keeps getting paid as a teacher, all goes into our pocket. So it continues to feed our cost of living even while we're away on vacation. No need to have to sublet our home or find someone to pay for it while we're gone or pay the expenses and doubling up the cost of our vacation. That is eliminated. Now, if you have to get a mortgage, get a loan, the smart thing to do is to get as minimum of what you're qualified for. So if you're qualified for a $300,000 loan, get a house that costs $150,000. Don't use all of that money. There is a chance that some of that loan money could go towards building your house or starting off your dream. But if you keep your day job, it's not much of a problem. But if you plan on transferring away from everyday work to living a more simple life, you really want to consider trying to buy a piece of property that is within the money that you have saved, or pay it off as quickly as possible. Okay, so how do we make money on our homestead? Well, here at our homestead, my wife works pretty much full-time as a teacher's aide, and I manage the homestead and take care of our kids, pick them up from school. I do have a couple landscape gigs, and I fulfill those during the school hours, but overall, I get to pretty much tinker around the homestead, and it's a deal that I really enjoy. One thing I've done here, even though we only have half an acre, I've been able to build out a cottage on the land that we can rent out for some source of income. It doesn't get much. It's a small cottage, 1-room studio sort of thing. They're pretty common out here in Hawaii, and we get about $300 a month for it, but it is money coming in. So that is something that you can do early on to be able to bring in some income for your property. That is probably the best way that you can make income. Now, I tried for years farming, growing food, starting a nursery, you name it, trying to do things from the land, selling eggs. It was hard. I never really made that much money. I got a lot of plants for my homestead. I had a lot of eggs. I still have chickens and my garden is thriving, but being able to transition that over to make a decent income that's equivalent to having a rental, where the work isn't that hard once you have the structure built, or having a job off-site, I think it's more important than you might think. You have to be a solid businessman and entrepreneur to be able to make money off of your homestead, okay? Unless you consider yourself one of those people, I would highly recommend that you keep that day job or find another way to make money, because it's not as easy as some people make it look. Who doesn't want to start the homestead dream? I know I did. When I was 23, I just wanted to get out of California, move to Hawaii, surf, and grow my own food. I was irrational and impatient, but you know what? It paid off. Most people would plan and plan for years. I never even been to the big island of Hawaii, but here I am 18 years later. I made a life for myself and I enjoy it here. So don't think you need to have all the money you need to begin your off-grid dream. Start where you are, learn some skills, save some money, buy some land, start simple, live in a car, live in a tent, whatever you need to do, get onto that land, stop paying rent, and slowly build from there. You'll be glad you did in 5 or 10 years. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. I hope some of these tips helped you realize what you need to get started to live in off-grid. It's not for everyone, but it also doesn't have to be a crazy lifestyle change, okay? So if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to our channel, and check us out at homesteadinhawaii.com, where we're posting articles and tips on achieving your homestead dream. This information is Hawaii centric, but it doesn't apply just for Hawaii. Anyone can use it, no matter where you plan on living your off-grid dream. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you're having a great one. Till next time, aloha.